before we get on a roll. Well, hello and awesome. This is going to be exciting. Let me get a couple things set up here. There we go. All right. Anybody have any burning questions that they feel the need to ask before we get started, or are you just ready to dive on in and learn as much as you possibly can?
I got a question for you.
Sure.
How do you pick your background like Dad did yesterday? You remember you saw that?
Yeah. So near the bottom left, near the start stop video, there's a little arrow, and underneath there is where you can see virtual backgrounds. And some bottom left.
Bottom left by the mute and stop video and all that.
Yeah, by the stop video.
Okay.
And then if you click on
I
that,
see.
You should be able to see. Yeah.
Check it out. Let's see.
There you go. Now you're in space.
Got it. Beautiful.
Fine. All right. I'm just gonna mute everybody. You guys can unmute yourself if you got a burning question. And this is exciting to have you all here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. If you have questions, feel free to just write them down. I'm covering as much as the basics as I can and covering as much information as I can. I'm going to get you guys out of here within an hour, including Q&A. And my goal is to teach you guys as much as possible so you don't, you avoid the mistakes that people are making on Zoom. Some of the things are very embarrassing. And soon enough, we are not going to be as, I think, tolerant and accepting of all of us working at home. So you want to kind of get ahead of the curve so that you can, help yourself, learn the technology that you need to learn. Let's get on here. So sharing that. All right. So welcome to the Zoom Basics. And I am going to, I got to pin my video. So let's see. No, hang on one second. There we go. There I am. I want to pin my video. Okay. That's almost it. All right. So welcome to the Zoom Basics. My name's Melissa Risdon. Some of you I know, some of you I love that you don't know me, yet you're trusting me to teach you some Zoom basics. Here we go. All right, today you're gonna learn how to use Zoom, which the cool part is a lot of you already know that. So I just invite you to listen and learn like you're hearing it for the first time, because it just opens up your awareness and allows you to let more information in so you can learn some stuff in a new way. Also makes your learning a little bit more curious. So we're gonna talk about the most important features that you need to know, how to be a great host and a respectful participant, and some of the biggest mistakes that people are making and how to avoid them. So you don't end up in the Zoom fail collection that's starting to happen. So the biggest thing that you wanna do is that the big picture is you want to get to know Zoom. So you're becoming familiar with this application. It's going to give you confidence and certainty. So when you're hosting a meeting, you are in the space connected to the participants. You are aware of what you're doing and you're not lost in the technology. You're not lost in the Zoom. I think that's the biggest picture of why we want to learn Zoom. So technology doesn't get in our way. Think of Zoom as just another tool in your tool belt. It's technology, which some people, I'm a system technology person. Some of us though, technology can be really overwhelming. And the reason why it's overwhelming is, for the most part, is because you're unprepared. And the biggest mistake I'm seeing people make is not getting familiar with Zoom and not practicing. So if I didn't feel comfortable on Zoom, having 88 people register for a call may have been overwhelming, but I've practiced it. I feel comfortable. Obviously I feel comfortable because I'm delivering this content to you guys, but it makes it easier. So when you do have a big group show up, you're comfortable with it. The thing that you want to do is you want to learn how to use Zoom. If you haven't already done so, you're going to want to create an account. You don't necessarily have to pay for an account, but you want to make sure that you actually have one. You want to download the app if you've not already done so to your computer and your phone. And as a host and also as a participant, the most, in my opinion, the most key things to learn is how to start and stop your video for yourself and your participants, and also how to mute and unmute yourself for your participants. And make sure that you note the audio, so the mute and the unmute, and the visual, the video, the start and stop video are separate keys, okay? I stress a lot that these are super, super, super important, because if you don't know this stuff, the meeting can then you're not in control of your participants. Just like if somebody was disruptive in an in-person meeting, you would be able to say, hey, can you make sure to turn your cell phone off, right? We don't always have that ability here in a group meeting, so you want to be able to know how to be able to mute everybody and turn your audio off. Just real quick, if you've not already accessed Zoom on your phone, this is just a little bit of pictures to just make sure that you know how to do it. Down on the very bottom here, the very bottom is you're going to slide different on the computer. You're going to slide from left to right to access like the pictures, to access taking yourself off speaker. If you need to share something from your phone, you can do that as well. That's if you click on this little button here, this little more button, that's where you're going to see your chat, your meeting settings, and like if you have to raise your hand, if you need to disconnect. The biggest mistake I've noticed on people on phones is that they're not remembering this nice little button when they go to leave. You don't always close when you close it on your phone, you don't always leave the meeting. And I've heard some people say a couple things afterwards that I'm like, I don't know that they wanted me to hear that. So make sure when you're on your phone, you're clicking on that upper left hand leave button. This is the iPhone, so the Android might be slightly different. So just make sure that you know how to use it on your phone as well. And make sure on your computer, down on the bottom, in the bottom of your screen as a participant is where you're going to be able to see like your mute, your stop video. As the host, these keys are going to look a little bit different, and that bar is going to move from the bottom up to the top. So like right now when I'm speaking to you guys, when I'm on presentation mode, that bar is at the top, and when I'm not sharing my screen, it's down on the bottom. So as the host, you just want to make sure that you're aware, where does that bar move to? You can move it around when you're in host mode, so that if it's like in the way of things, but you just want to become really familiar with all the little things that are available on here. I'm just going to keep my eye on chat just in case. Is there a gallery view on the phone? So on your phone, great question. This is as much as you can do on your gallery view. You're just going to see 4 people. So you can't see it you can't see all, 10 participants, but you can slide left and right in order to be able to see the different groups of people. Great question. All right. Next up, if you're the host, you need to remember that you're the leader. You're the one that's in charge of the participants. And I repeat this quite often. Repetition is the mother of all skills. You can mute and turn off their audio and their video. You can also change their name. So if there's somebody on here that has just their phone number showing, or they just have a name that, is baby, basically like hot mama at home, I don't know what they might be, and you need to know that that person's name is Martin Smith, then you can actually click in the upper right hand corner. There's 3 little dots, and you can click on that and change their name. That's also really helpful. It shows for everybody, so if you change their name, make sure that it's an appropriate name for everybody. If you're doing it with family and it's not a professional meeting, I say have some fun with the possibility of changing people's names. The other thing when you're hosting, and also when you're a participant, you need to keep in mind that people are visual, they're auditory, and they're kinesthetic. So when you're teaching, you want to make sure to be really respectful of the different learning styles that people have. Also, major things that are really, really distracting if there's movement on camera. So if you're on camera and you're on your phone and you're walking around and talking, it's really distracting. So as a host, you can turn their camera off, or you can just politely ask them, to please turn your camera off. For me, I'm a very visual person. I find it nauseating when I'm hosting or looking at a view. And keep in mind that even if you're not the host, if you're a participant, if things like that are really distracting, if you're distracted and annoyed with it, most likely there's going to be somebody else. So feel free to go ahead and take yourself off mute and ask, like, hey, Mike, can you please, take your video off? Also, the other thing with audio, this is a big thing. So because we're no longer all in person, audio is a big thing. So if you're eating chips, I would say make sure to mute yourself. Sometimes when I'm eating, because it happens, we're at home, we're in a bunch of different meetings, I will turn my camera off and mute myself and eat my food, because sometimes people don't want to watch myself eating. The other thing that you need to be aware of is if you're not on like a speaker or a headset, you need to keep in mind your volume when you're speaking. So audio isn't just what you hear, it's also the level of what the other user's experience is. So when you're not on a designated headset or a great mic, it can be really distracting. The other thing also is that if you're on your phone, the phone has a great capability to block out background noises. And if you're talking, basically on your speaker through your phone into Zoom, it sounds more like this. Like it really breaks up because your phone's trying to cancel out background noises. And I recommend, if you're on your phone, you always use a headset, especially if you're going to talk. It just is a cleaner thing. Talked to somebody yesterday. They're a complete auditory person. And so this is stuff that's going to like kill some people in meetings. The other thing is people talk really softly. So here I'm talking through my speaker. Right now I'm just talking directly to the computer, and some people don't speak loud. So if you're talking really softly and you're not a loudspeaker, it's probably more difficult to hear me right now, right? I am not a soft speaker, so I'm pretty loud. So then again, mute. I tell you this, guys, again and again and again, and there's reason for it. It's because there's some very comical things that have been happening. Don't be Jennifer. I'm not sure if any of you have seen this. Sweet little Jennifer was on a call and she was carrying her computer and walking around, and she decided to set her computer down and then use the toilet. And somebody recorded it, and now Jennifer Mills, however you say her name, is now all over the internet. It's something to keep in mind that we're on these meetings now. This is like public domain. We can record everything. People are at home. People are bored, and they're going to record stuff, and you don't want to become an internet meme or an internet sensation where now everybody knows this poor girl Jennifer who peed on the toilet on her Zoom call. So check your camera. Lots. Check mute. Lots. If you have to check it 50 times on a call, I'd rather you do that than be Jennifer. The other thing on camera, you're now on camera, which not all of us are familiar with. You want to take a look at, where is your head placement? Don't be a talking head. It's a really big disconnect when you just see an odd talking head. The other thing is we're nosy. It's just in kind of our human nature. We're curious as to what's going on. So take a note what's going on in your background. People are curious, and, they might be looking. A lot of us now are working from our bedrooms. I think the etiquette a couple months ago was, don't work from your bedroom. But guess what? Like, we're all working from home. We're all in this new situation, in this new changing world. Just be mindful of what's in your background. You can also do the virtual backgrounds. My Mac is older, and it doesn't actually work for the virtual backgrounds, and I haven't honestly done that much research on it. That's also because I'm fine with you seeing what's going on in the back of my room. None of this embarrasses me or takes away from any of that. So I'm fine with anybody seeing behind me. Another thing is you can always some people get a green screen or a partition behind them to just do that. You got to do whatever is just appropriate for you. The other thing is watch your angles, okay? You don't want to be the person on the left and have this, great look of people looking up your nose or have this double chin. It's just not very attractive. We don't take our pictures that way. You got to be mindful of the funny hats. Like me, I have this, if I sit in a certain position and that fan is on, it looks like it's a twirling hat and can be really distracting. So, sometimes I might angle it a little bit. If you guys look at my picture real quick, I might angle it a little bit sideways just to avoid that little bit of hat. But now for we're on now, this is the most comfortable position that I'm sitting in. All All right. Who's got a question? I hear somebody. If not, I'll just mute you. All right, I just muted you, no words. So see, somebody just coughed. They didn't realize it was on. It's really no big deal. Now that might have been embarrassing for somebody who's off of mute and their child comes in or the dog comes in barking. But me as the host, I heard it. I just know where to go and I click and mute. And then it doesn't distract from the meeting or the call. And it also just as the host feels more in control and not all of a sudden getting nervous about like what's happening. Because believe me, I've been on enough calls and all of a sudden somebody's yelling at their kids or they're talking to their husband or they're on a phone call. And as the host, when you know that information, it just keeps you streamlined. It keeps you moving forward and you don't need to be concerned with what other people are doing. The other thing, head placement. Okay, so this is something, think of watching, you know, like the news anchors. They don't have a huge space between their head. The habit, I'm gonna stop sharing this for just a second so you guys can really see this, and I'm going to just do speaker view here. Okay, so this is, think of when you watch stuff on the news, you watch TV hosts, their head is right at the top of the bar. They don't have a huge amount of space, and the habit is we put our head right in the middle of the frame. And if you notice, then you just see the top of the shoulders, and it kind of cuts off the energy and the connection. Think of it when you see somebody sitting across the table, they're not this high compared to the table, they're actually up. So I say just, you know, have your head really close to the top and have it just above like your chest, probably more at like your armpit. You could be a little bit farther away. If you're a little bit farther away, you know, you might just have your whole chest area. Just think of people, usually we're sitting across the table, you know, having in-person meetings. And when you're down like this, it just seems really weird. Or if you're just the talking head, you know, sitting on stuff, just see how that just doesn't seem like, it just seems odd and really unprofessional. So you want to make sure, even if the top of your head is cut off, it's okay. You know, it's okay to do that. And you guys could just adjust. All right, let's go back to Sharon. And those are just little things that it matters. You know, it really does matter to some people. Okay, you might have to also get creative. Like right now, if I have my computer up on this little box, if I didn't, you'd be looking at my nose and I would have the double chin. The other thing is get creative around the house. If you don't have the ability to have like a virtual background, then you might want to put your camera on like a little tripod so you can have you know, just a different background. Just, it also depends on your audience and who you're working with. Depends also on your personality. If you're working with a super high-end clients, you might want to move your stuff around. I think more than anything, people are pretty tolerant and forgiving and understanding right now. I think more than anything, if you're professional and you know what you're doing when you're leading the meeting, that's going to help. That's going to help whatever might be happening in the background, even like mistakes if family walks in or something like that, right? So the other thing is, get used to yourself on camera. Not everybody is been on camera, right? Not everybody's been having online businesses. Some people hate having their picture taken, and now all of a sudden you have to get online and lead, you know, your company meeting, because you do it every single week with your company. Every Friday you're leading a meeting and you're fine in front of people, but get in front of a camera and you freak out, right? Could be things like that. So just get used to yourself on camera. I promise you, you look way better than you think you do. And other people see you all the time. So just because you don't see yourself doesn't mean you look bad. Record yourself on Zoom or on your phone, watch it. Get used to your mannerisms and your facial expressions. And just remember to just be you. And if you have to lead stuff and you know you and yourself is distracting, be creative. When I was first doing it, I was so critical of my mannerisms and my hands were flying all over the place and the goofy little smiles that I do and the scrinkling of the eyes. I would just put something over the camera, over my screen, so I wasn't looking at myself. And that's something that you can do just until you get familiar, because guess what? You guys who know me or are knowing me for the same time, you're seeing me and you're having an experience of me. And that's just who I truly am, right? So the more I'm comfortable with just being on camera, being with you guys, the more relaxed as participants in a meeting you're going to be. So just get used to yourself, because when you're fussing, especially us ladies, I know you men do it too, but I was on a call recently and someone just kept fixing their hair and they're, you know, like looking at themselves, and it's just like, Please stop. It's so distracting. So those are just some little things that are going to help. Also, you want to be mindful of your energy. You're the one that's leading the meeting. You're the one that's in charge of the meeting. You're the one that, whoops, jumping ahead. You're the one that is hosting, right? So it's just like if you're in corporate America and you're leading a meeting, or if you're in a situation where you're leading a meeting, you're the one that's really, in charge of stuff. So a great thing is just look past the camera. So it just is a little bit helpful if you just imagine actually somebody sitting on the other side of the table from you. Look past the camera, imagine the people that are in your group, and remember meetings that you've had in person. This just helps you connect with people. So for me, like, there's some friendly faces on here that I know Kyla, I know Frankly, I know Lauren, and I'm sure there's more of you that are on here that I know personally. I just imagine that you're actually sitting 3 to 4 feet away from me, because it makes me feel closer to you, especially when you're presenting. So like when I'm presenting here, I don't see all of your faces or your facial expressions. I just see the PowerPoint and I see a little box of myself. And so to make me connect with you guys, because I can't see you, I can't see how many people are on here, I can see like your list of names. It just helps me imagine, like, okay, we're at a round table with a whole bunch of people. Connect with your participants before the call. Like before the call, I was just kind of getting in tune with, what do people on the call really need? What is it that's going to help them get their confidence? What is it that's going to help them really feel into, feeling comfortable, so that you can walk away from just this call and feel more confident? Another great thing is to breathe. If you're presenting for the first time and technology, there's just all these different things that could be happening. Just start breathing 10 minutes before you start. So you just get connected with yourself, with the people, and just take a moment to take a breath and relax before your call. You're going to do great, and you're going to do better than you think you do. I promise you. The other thing is, oh my God, what about all the buttons? There's so many buttons. I said in the beginning, you want to get yourself familiar with it. There is a ton of different things that you can do in a meeting, which is why, not right now, but go in and host a call. You don't even have to have anybody else on the call, and get familiar with where all the buttons are. Maybe get a friend on there or get some family members and try some different things out, because that's going to give you the confidence. And then all of these buttons don't actually overwhelm you. You actually know where you can go, so you can actually lead and be a host and do things like that, right? So sharing screen is stopped and shared window is closed. Okay, see, little things like that. It just happens. You just get right familiar with, okay, need to share, get right back on, share my screen. I love it how real-time things happen, right? If I wasn't familiar with what was going on, that might have made me really nervous. It might have made me lose rapport with you guys, but I know how to use Zoom. It just, for whatever reasons, it just popped up there. So this is the bar over on those 3 little buttons over on the left-hand side when you're the host. These are things that can help you show panel. So when you're recording stuff, you want to be mindful as to how this is being recorded. Is it in speaker view? Is it in gallery view? So these are just some things that you want to be mindful of, how this is looking and how you're seeing it. Because when you're recording stuff to be delivered with other people, you want to be mindful what the end user experience is going to be after the fact. So these are some other little things like you can do, like right now I have this view in the recording. I could also have this long like film strip view. And those are things as participants you can do yourself. You can change the different views. You can have, right now during the PowerPoint, you could have people on the like left-hand side or right-hand side. You can also move all these bars around so that you can do it. So if you're watching the recording, I'm just moving the picture of me from the top left, or from the top right to the bottom right to the left bottom, left top. So I'm just kind of moving it around so that people who are watching the recording can see that you have the ability to do that, to get things in and out of your way when you're hosting. Let's see, I've got a little video here to show you guys just a little bit so you get a little bit more familiar with just some of the buttons. You can launch your Zoom from the URL. You can also launch it from the app on your computer. You can join a meeting by just typing in, some people are just giving the Zoom number of the meeting. That's where you would type it in if you're joining via the app. You can schedule meetings. You can create a new meeting. So just watch that video a little bit. I'm just going to check chat. Okay, so this is one of the things of control. I'll answer that question in just a second. These are some of the things so that you can do like your video settings, just to be aware that this is, you don't need to learn all this right now. I'm just doing it as an example so that you guys can see there's a bunch of different things that you can control. And you can control this in this actual meeting. So anything, any settings that I would do in this meeting would be for this specific meeting, and I could change that. So you can copy the URL, you can do the copy invitation. You can manage the participants. So like I have this screen up on mine, so I can mute and unmute you guys and take control of that. The other thing which is great to know is that this is one thing I just want to pause on. So some of you are having really personal meetings, right? Wait, pause. Okay. Some of you, like one of my clients is actually a therapist. So she's moving her very private therapy sessions, and some of you are coaches, or you might be in HR and need to have a private meeting. Know that you can lock a meeting. So you can actually click on this button right here. So underneath the participants, you click on more and you can click lock a meeting. That will add to your ability to have privacy. This works. I've tried it multiple times because I've gotten text messages saying, hey, we're locked out of the meeting. So this is something that's really great to know so that you can ensure that so especially like if you're a therapist or you're a coach and you don't want anybody accidentally coming into a Zoom meeting, you're having an HR sensitive topic. You're having a romantic, conversation with somebody that you love, or a really intimate conversation with a parent you haven't been able to see in a while. These are great things just to know that you can lock a meeting. It locks everybody out so that nobody will come in. It also will give that privacy and that confidence to, the person that you're having that meeting with. I think the other thing, you can make other people hosts or co-hosts. So if you're doing a large meeting and you're not familiar with it, so see here, like I could make that's me on the iPhone. I can I can put them on hold, or I can stop video. So I, as the host, stopped that video on my phone, which is a great thing to know. So if somebody's if they're, running around and doing stuff, and then when you're the host, you can kind of move some stuff around so that it works for you guys, so that you can move things, so that you can see what you're doing and have the group on there. There's buttons there for recording, buttons there for breakout rooms. I know somebody sent me a private message. This is where you would do the breakout rooms. You can set those up ahead of time. You can also live stream to Facebook or YouTube. I think on Zoom, I saw something that they were asking for people to not do that, just based on the Zoom thing. And then you can end meeting, you can end the meeting for everybody. So that was just a little bit of, not necessarily that you need to know all of that in this moment, but just know that there's a bunch of different options that you need to do. The other thing is when you share your screen, make sure that you close your browsers, you close the documents that you don't need, and that you can either share your entire desktop based on your comfort level, or you can share just the document. So like right now, I'm just sharing the PowerPoint. I'm not sharing my whole desktop and then going to my PowerPoint. Reason why this is important is that you sometimes might have, where was it? You might have stuff, let's see, play. You might have stuff on your background. I have seen this. This is the most important thing. So this is the most important thing on this. I have seen people that has over the years been doing share desks. People have stuff that is, where is it again? There you go. Okay, people have stuff here that is just inappropriate for what you need. They might have, I've seen people have bank statements available. I've seen people have pictures. It's not at the exact right time. Like this, okay? So I just joke on here, like, how do I get drunk? If you go to type something into a URL, know that Google will bring up your most recent hits. So over the years of sharing screens and working from home and being online, I have had my fair share of seeing inappropriate searches on URL, or somebody types something in and there's something revealing about yourself that you really don't want people to see. It's in your cookies, it's in your memory. So if you just need to share like a Word document, just share your Word document. Make sure that, especially, you know, like your bank statement isn't up in the background. So that's why I recommend, like, go ahead and close that stuff down, especially if you're the host, if you know that you're going to be sharing. This is super, super helpful. So it causes no embarrassments, and then somebody doesn't take a screenshot and then show it to the world, you know, show it to the world outside of it, and then you become an internet meme. So this is just, again, the locked meeting. I mentioned that again. This is something that's important to know to do that. So a couple questions. I'll pause here. Let's see. Some of the features only available through paid version. I believe what happens with Zoom, the difference between the paid version and not paid version is the time that you're allowed. If you're the host, you should be able to have the same things and be able to do that. Can you explain the difference in breakout rooms? Yes, I will talk about breakout rooms in just a second. Well, the steps to do the breakout room are, did I get a picture? Let's see, just so we can answer that question. Where's that bar? Okay, so see this bar here, breakout rooms, you would click on that. And what'll happen is as the host, it will pop up, and you can say, like, put 2 to 3 people in each room. If we have time, I'll actually do that so you guys as participants can experience it. Just not sure if we have time for it. And then as a host, you can either assign who gets put into what breakout rooms. You can assign, you know, if there's 2 breakout rooms, and you just let Zoom split it. So if you're on a call and you're like, you want to do a quick little powwow or a quick little brainstorm, you can put everybody randomly in rooms and say, you know, you've got 5 minutes to think of an idea. That's something to help. Yes, you cannot do, okay, so Kyla's mentioning you can't do Facebook Live from the free version. That's right. So you can't do the live feeds from the free version. Can the co-host share their screen, or only the host? Everyone can share a screen if that is the settings that you have on your meeting. So I think for this, I'm the one that's available to share. That's because I'm hosting it. But that's something that if you're in a meeting and multiple people need to share, then then that's something that you guys can control, and you can control it in your settings. You can control it per meeting. Can you explain how I am sharing this PowerPoint? Is when I'm the host, and you guys have this for you, is that you can go down to the bottom, and there's a setting that says share. So don't try that now, because I am not 100% sure. I think I have it on that I'm the only one that can share, but please don't try for the moment. Okay, let's go back to here, then I'll jump back on questions. Where were we? The second one. This one, lock your meeting. Okay, so look, you guys are all on track. Okay, so someone said the sound cut off for a few times. Any reason why, or how to get the sound back? Okay, so there's a couple things that could be possibly on that. It could be that I have a slow internet connection. It could be that you have a slow internet connection. It could be that if you're on your phone, you know, I don't know how exactly you're accessing it, but if a lot of times if the volume or sound goes out, somebody else is saying it didn't cut out for them. So it could be your internet connection. It could be that you accidentally turned your sound down on your computer. I've had that where I turned it down and I didn't realize I did. So here you want to see, you can do polling. So that's something I'm going to do at the end. You can do the breakout rooms. You could do sharing, and anybody could do sharing if that's how you have the meeting set up. We could do a whiteboard where it's just basically a white blank screen, and you can share information. You can share what's on your iPhone, what's on your iPad. You can share your desktop versus like an application window. So right now I'm just sharing this PowerPoint. And if you have a paid version, thank you for confirming that. You can do a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live if that's what you would like to do. All right, so I'm going to go through a few little settings. I'm going to hold off on answering the questions because I might actually get through them, and then I'll come back to looking at the chat and looking at what questions you guys have, okay? So once you create an account, the biggest thing that you want to pay attention to a couple of the biggest things you want to pay attention to is your profile. So this picture is what is going to show online for you. So make sure it's a picture that looks like you. Don't wear sunglasses. Don't wear baseball hats. Don't have the picture be really far away. You want people to be able to recognize that that picture is you. And if you have a picture with, 47 people in it, then people might not know it's you. If anybody is single and has been on dating apps in the last couple of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You want to make sure the picture so that when I'm not sharing my screen, you guys see a picture of me. So right now, if I do, let's see. You know what, based on time, I'm sure you guys can look around. I'm not going to do it just based on time. You can look around and see, I'm sure there's people that are not sharing their camera and it's going to show a picture of them. The other thing is this name right here that you have in your account, that's what shows up. So I have Melissa Risdon typed in here, and Melissa Risdon is what shows up. And then my personal meeting ID is this one. So that's the one that I share with lots of groups of people. The next thing is down. So your profile you want to pay attention to, and over in settings. These are just kind of some of the key things. I recommend having host video and participant video off. So you as a participant and you as a host, you dictate when you turn that on. I think that's a great etiquette to have, so that somebody isn't doing something that they don't necessarily want people to see. It gives the control to the participant to turn their video on, so when they look appropriate, they're going to actually share the video. Especially, I was in a meeting, somebody had curlers in their hair, so they get to choose whether they see you or not. So I think that that's just a nice thing to do for all of your meetings. Any of the settings that you set up, like on zoom.us, any of these settings that you set up are going to be for every meeting that you create. And then per the specific meeting, you can make changes, because that's something that you can do. Okay, so you just need to leave the telephone and computer audio, just leave that alone, because you want people to be able to access via their telephone, iPad, computer, things like that. A lot of these other things are just going to be purely, where's my cursor go? There it goes, are purely going to be personal preferences. So join before host. So because there was 88 people registered and I have no idea who everybody is, I didn't allow you guys to join before me. I have other meetings where it's a bunch of friends and we're getting together, having like a chitty chat. I go ahead and say join before the host, because I don't need to be on if people want to get on beforehand. Totally personal preference. If it's a larger meeting or a professional meeting, I would suggest turning that off. If it's a friendly meeting, go ahead and leave it on. The other thing is chat. So right now, private chat should be turned off. At least that's what I hope it was. At least that's what the plan it was, so that you can set it up either way, so that people can private chat. If you don't know the group of people, I recommend not doing it, because you don't want somebody that's maybe annoying, or people are going back and forth and getting distracted to what your content is. You can also prevent participants from saving chat. Those are just going to be some personal preferences based on what's happening. If you always want your chat to save, you can turn that on. And some of these things are really just going to be what it is that you want. So who can share, right? So who can share is all participants or hosts only. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing. I always leave that as only the host, so that nobody else, if anybody shares right now, they're not going to override what I'm sharing. If I had that on for all participants, any of you could share. So that's something, there's been some discussions of Zoom bombers, where people are coming in and basically hacking the meeting, and they're taking over and they're sharing stuff and doing things that are inappropriate. If you have that key there, if you're sharing, somebody else can't. The rest of these are just going to be personal preferences for what it is that you want to do. Same thing here. If you're doing cloud recordings, when attendees join the meeting before the host, you can have a notification. You can have a notification when it's canceled. A lot of this is just going to be what you want. The other thing is when you're recording, make sure if you're recording that you actually know what the different recordings are. So you can record on the computer and you record on the iCloud. I personally recommend on the computer, because then you have immediate access to the files. There's only so much room on the iCloud, and it records directly to Zoom. It's also, if you have the recording, then you can edit it. You can post it to YouTube. So for here, this recording, if you're watching the recording, you're going to be accessing it through, I'm going to download it. I'm going to upload it to YouTube on my YouTube channel, so that people have access to it. I prefer having it on my computer. Maybe it's a control thing, but I just like having access to it. And then I have all the ability to do it. Some people are fine with putting it on the cloud. That's just my personal recommendation. It's not a hard and fast. It's not a hard and fast rule. Know when it gets downloaded, it's going to be downloaded into like a Zoom file, and you're going to have multiple little files. So if your chat is saved, it's going to have like a chat.txt. Your playback. So I'm on a Mac. This playback, I looked it up. This is actually, if you're going to show it on a PC, that's something that you guys are going to see that are on the PC. And this Zoom/0. So when you do recordings, like if I did a start stop and a start again, it would do Zoom_0, which is the first recording, Zoom_1, Zoom_2. And that would just be in the order that things were being recorded in. And that's going to just default into a Zoom file. So you can see down here, the upper file is Zoom. That's just going to be an automatic thing on your computer. At least that's how it works on the Mac. I got to assume that the PC, that Zoom has taken that in consideration. The other thing is once you stop the meeting, the Zoom is going to convert into a recorded meeting. You can close Safari, you can close your app, you can close these things. This will just be in the background, and depending on how long your meeting is, will depend on how much time that actually takes to convert. So just know that that's going to be doing it, and then it'll show up on your computer in the files, and then you can share and do what you want to do with that recording. Just depends on, are you in the type of business that you need to do recordings? This is something I'm recording and going to be sending out to everyone that's registered, so you have access to it. You have it in your back pocket. You can access it when you want to, so you can learn some more. Oh, there we go. I mentioned it earlier, but just be in mind if you're recording via a gallery view or if you're being recorded via a speaker view. So here on the right is the speaker view. If I was speaking, I'm sharing right now, but if I was just speaking, I would be recording on the speaker view as opposed to the gallery view. So the gallery view is going to be when we're all talking. The speaker view is going to be when you're presenting. And just know you as a participant also can control how you view that. You just want to be mindful when you're recording it to sharing it about what's going to be the end user experience at the end of this, okay? Zoom suggestions. Ask for help. Google is your friend. The Zoom help page has a gazillion great recordings and information. I recommend things like this because it's a little more intimate, kind of gets to the point, and then you don't have to spend 10 hours watching a lot of the stuff. I've spent a huge amount over the years getting used to how do I do this and how do I do that. But ask for help, Google it, do practice meetings and presentations, get on Zoom as a host, ask others to join and practice. I highly recommend keeping your Zoom link easy. I have it saved on my phone. So the one that I use the most, I have it saved on my phone. I have it bookmarked, like zoom.us. I have it bookmarked so I can easily get to my meeting. So I don't always have to go into Zoom to say start a meeting. I recommend that because it makes you more proficient and it makes it easy for you guys to share. Practice, get familiar, and then repetition is the mother of all skills. We know that. So there are additional features. You can do remote control. So we can do a sharing. I'm not going to go into that today because it's a little bit more advanced, but I can share a screen and then you on the other side can do some remote control. You can do some drawing on it. The other thing that you can do is you can also register. So all of you that are on here today, you registered for this call. This is just an additional feature that Zoom does. I have the lowest paying account. I have the $14.99 or $14.95 a month, and I'm able to do the personalized, the registration for the meetings and also the branding. You can either use your personal meeting ID or you can do a registration. When you do a registration like this, it's a new and unique meeting number. So this meeting number and Zoom link that you guys all that you clicked on, this is specific for this meeting. And then the branding, just so you guys, registered, you can see that, I was able to create this. You can upload a photo. You can do a logo that's going to show over here in the left-hand side. I put the logo in on one of them. It doesn't look that great. And then the registration is just there, especially if you got to do stuff online. You don't have mailing systems yet, right? You got to figure out how to maybe collect emails or help people get stuff. So that's just one of the things that you can make it look like you. It's just an added little step. This is definitely going to be in one of the paid versions, and definitely you can only brand it like this in a registered meeting. Okay, so if you just create a meeting and it's not registered, you can't do that. Okay. The next thing is fears. Just watch how self-conscious you are of yourself, because it does show. If you're nervous, it comes across. Some fears are, people don't have a home office. Well, this is my home office, and it just so happens it's also, it's also the rest of my living space. Family interruptions, creative things are, maybe you have a sticker or a note that you put on the door that says, like meeting in progress, so that people don't actually interrupt your meetings. What if you mess up? Well, the cool part is I demonstrated a few times. I messed up. I screwed up on a couple things. The meeting shrunk down. It's totally fine. The more comfortable you are with the tools, the better it is, and the better that you're going to be with moving forward with it. And what about Zoom bombers? I mentioned that a little bit. Zoom bombers and Zoom hackers, I guess, is something that people are doing. If your link is public, like anybody could have registered, Joe Schmo in, I don't know, Pakistan or, Arkansas, or like right next door in California, could have joined in and could have been, a butthead and written a bunch of ridiculous stuff on chat or shared sort of things, all that kind of stuff. I, as the host, would have been able to remove that person from my meeting. So Zoom bombers, you want to know what you can do as a host. One of the things is I could remove you if you're being inappropriate. You can also put in your settings, if somebody is removed, can they rejoin? Now, I have that turned on yes, they can rejoin, because sometimes people have had some internet difficulties. I've had to kick them off a meeting and they want to rejoin. If you're doing a public meeting and you got to boot somebody, you can change that setting so that they can't come back on. Presentation skills, it's something that we are all going to be learning. We are in a new world. We are in a world of change and adapting to our businesses. You're going to have to get better at presenting skills. You're going to have to, if you do any sort of selling online, you're going to have to get comfortable with it. It's the new norm. The other thing is some people are really concerned about, like, how do I keep my team connected? All of a sudden, they're remote. All of a sudden, they're not face to face anymore. Okay. So let me stop sharing here for just a little bit. Let me check on these calls. Oops. Check on, not on the calls. Check on the chat. Where'd you guys go? There you go. All right, let's take a look at some of the chat questions and see what I can answer for you. Okay. Let me go up. All right, let's see. Do you schedule larger groups the same way as one-on-one meetings? Are you using a Zoom room plan or a basic plan? I am using the cheapest plan. I don't remember if it's a Zoom room plan. I think the Zoom room plan is new since the world has changed. So I'm pretty sure I'm on just the basic cheap plan. It said that I couldn't share my screen when someone else had a screen share going on. Great. So that's one of those things you can't share when I'm sharing. Hello, if you are the leader of the meeting, how can I mute WhatsApp or upcoming calls? So that's going to be something like on your computer specifically that you're going to have to do. Maybe you have to turn off the notifications for things like that so that they don't pop up, or just be aware if that stuff happens, then you have to know how to really quickly be able to cancel a WhatsApp meeting or cancel out a call. Always make sure when I have my phone also, I make sure that it's off just in case things are here. But sometimes you have to actually see it to actually be able to see, keep track of stuff. Somebody might be texting you. So always keep it handy, but I do always turn the volume off so it doesn't interrupt what's happening between you guys and all. Okay, so what's the question? Great question. I do not know if you have to go into the Zoom settings or your actual phone settings for the meeting. I don't understand that question. Yeah. Go ahead and Lauren, ask that again in just a different way, or take yourself off mute. And we'll do. Okay, how does Facebook Live and YouTube work with Zoom? When you have a paid version, you can actually go down on the bottom and push it. You have to connect your accounts to Facebook. So it just means that this video would show up live, like in a Facebook group or on a Facebook page or on my personal page. And that's something you have to connect in your settings. And it's a push. Zoom, I believe, is asking us not to do that because of bandwidth. I saw something at the top of their website page to do that. Does each Zoom meeting have a unique code? Maybe. So some of the meetings, if you oh, I got an itchy nose here. Some of the meetings, you can set up a meeting, say at like tomorrow at 5:00, and I can use my personal ID meeting, or I can do a new meeting with a new link. I do have one screenshot of that I will show. Just want to be mindful, it's already 12:52. Do you recommend practicing on the free account first before getting a paid account? Yeah, sure. It shouldn't be that much difference between just the actual things. If you want to get familiar with it before you actually pay for it, that's definitely something you could recommend. How do you keep others from recording the meeting themselves? Well, here's the thing. All of you have the ability to turn on so QuickTime, any one of you right now could turn on your QuickTime player or equivalent and record this. So I don't have the ability to not allow you to record this. You can't record it, as a participant, you can't record the Zoom meeting, but you're on technology, and technology you can record. So any one of you could do that recording. Like if I'm sitting here doing my nose, you might screenshot this and then show this to everybody in the world, and then it goes on another, goofy little Zoom fail. We all have that ability, and that's one of the things I kind of look at it. We have to take in mind of, what if I was a public figure? What am I doing online now? Because we all have access to it. The best thing you can do is get comfortable with being embarrassed. And then if anything like that does happen, you just really don't care. Okay. So some of these I've mentioned, some of them. Do you recommend practicing on free? How does you keep yourself recording, meeting themselves? Just answered that. The annotate button is going to be like kind of like likes and that kind of stuff. That's going to be setting up. You could have like reactions. I have reactions set up, so you guys could do like a thumbs up. So that's just something that I did on mine. You guys can do that. If you're liking it, go ahead and give the feedback down on the bottom right that yes, you're liking it. That's something that can be turned on at your settings level. It could also be turned on here at your meeting level. So that's something like I had thought earlier to do that for fun, and it's not something that I've really done much in a meeting. And so I also decided I didn't want to totally take away, because that's not something I'm yet totally familiar with how to, eloquently ask for more and more participation, or ask for likes or hands up and things like that. So that's just another thing. Like once you get better, that's another, if I do this again, which I will, because there's so many registers, that's going to be something I'm going to look into to make sure that I'm totally comfortable with it. So I feel at ease instructing you guys what to do. If I did that right now, I'd be blumbling all over the place. I'd probably get a little bit nervous. You as participants would feel that, and then it breaks our rapport with each other. So instead, I just like to do things that I'm comfortable and confident with, okay? The other thing is, I asked earlier, I didn't see here the answer. Can the names that display on the picture in gallery view be included in the recording somehow? I'm recording. I believe that is a Zoom setting. So I've done the same thing. Like I can see your names. I can see my name and Frankie and Gabriel and Betty and Joan. I can see all of your names on the bottom, but when I've done the recording and done the playback, you don't see the names. The thing is also, you think about it, is for your privacy. There is one setting. There is a setting that says don't show the full phone number. I highly recommend that setting, so that if somebody is on, their phone number isn't shown, just to give people the privacy, as opposed to a recording and somebody posts it's on YouTube and now someone's phone number is public. So that's definitely a setting I do recommend. So if anybody in my meetings, if their phone numbers are on, let's see if there's anybody on here that has it. Let's see. Oh, nobody's in. I can't see anybody on the phone numbers, but it's just a nice little thing that you as the host, you're taking care of your participants. You're taking care of your participants' privacy. Also, if you're going to do stuff for meetings, like I didn't ask this, so I'm going to ask this now, and I apologize if anybody is not okay with it. If you're recording in like a gallery style and you're going to use it like for education purposes, this is a recording. If you don't want to be shown, then you would need to turn your share off, so that people, if you don't want your face out there in public. I forgot to ask this in the beginning, so just to let you guys know, I am going to be sharing this on YouTube. I am going to be sending this out to all registrations, so your beautiful faces, which some of you I know, I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay with, and you'll be on there. But that would be something, just kind of etiquette to learn to ask. And the more you get familiar with it, you don't have to do everything the first time you host a meeting. Just it's more than anything, be aware that you have this ability, be aware that you actually can do this, which is great for everybody to know. Let's see, a couple more questions. Can you not include the participants' photos as you're describing? So yeah, so like when right now there's people up at the top, so in the recording they'll show that. Right now I can go to gallery view, so now all of your beautiful faces are being showed, or I can do full screen. So when I go to full screen, when you see this in the recording, it's just me and none of you guys are showing. So that would be something else to do if you don't want to have people's, you know, their picture showing. Then when you put it to full screen as the host, there is, you know, nobody can actually see it. And so let's see the chat again. Isn't that more ethical to do a full screen and not show our faces if you're going to put it on YouTube? Yeah, you know, it is. And one of the things is like, that's something that I forgot. So there's a couple, you know, there's just a few little minutes on there where people's faces are going to be there. If that's a huge issue for people, you know, please send me a message and I'll take a look through the recording and make sure that you're not on there. You know, it just kind of depends on where your sensitive it is. So like my default is I'm a really public person, and so sometimes I need to be reminded, right? Like that's going to be something that I'm now going to put up for my next meeting. Like make sure that people know, hey, this is going to be recorded. If you don't want your face to be recorded, please just unshare your screen. Or that's something if you're able to after the fact to edit it. So if there's anybody that, you know, is like, hey, I'd rather have my screen, my picture not shown, send me a private message and I'll edit it and take that out. But you got to do that really quick because I'm going to try to get this turned around as quickly as I can. Okay. So one of the things I am going to do now is just real quick share with you guys. How can I help? Okay. Share. I got stuff in the way. Share. So I want to know how I can help you guys. Okay. If I come from a corporate America background. I've been an entrepreneur for years. I've had my own coaching business. I've now been doing energy clearing and meditations. So if you need help, like with your business system, I'm great at analyzing systems, getting people to have systems in place and planning. If you need help with customized training, that's one of the things I'm great at. Remote connecting to teams, like that's a big thing I'm seeing in just small companies and in offices that, you know, we used to all be in person and now we have to connect remotely. We got to work. We have to build that synergy. You might need help with mindset, with, you know, pivoting your business. Like I've been concentrating a lot on energy clearing and I realized this is a need. I have lots of friends that I've been doing this that need help. So I've had to pivot my business. And right now, I don't think you guys want it, you know, an all in box. Here's a 3-week program or 4-week program or blah, blah, blah. Like I am under the impression that people I'm interacting that need some you know, some customization as to what it is that you're doing. So these are all the things that I'm great at. I'm really great at helping that. And so just inviting to you, if you're listening to this, if you're watching it, if you need some help, if you need some ideas, I'm just giving away some free calls to have like a consultation to help you figure out what you're needing. Do you just need a couple of questions asked, or are you actually like, hey, I really do need some help. I need some help. You can head on over to talktomelissa.com. That's my online calendar system. Super easy to access. It's just a 30-minute call. We can get online, share with you, you know, what it is that you're going through, what it is that you're experiencing, what it is that you need some help with. You know, sometimes somebody is just like, I just have these couple of questions and I need help with. Or sometimes it's like, you know what, I watch this and that's all I need. And sometimes people are like, my business is failing and I need some support, or I'm so stressed out, I can't deal with it. So that's one of the things that, you know, if you want some help, if you need some help, head on over to talktomelissa.com and go ahead and set up an appointment with me. I would love to actually share with you. I'm going to turn off the recording and have you guys stay on since we're at the top of the hour, answer just some questions. I'm going to actually cancel out the recording first. Okay. So let me just escape this up, pause the recording.